Hello everyone, welcome to Adobe Live. A special shout out to our Discord community at Firefly. If you're coming in from Discord, leave us a little purple heart in the chat. We're here with Hep. Hi Hep, how are you today?
Oh, hello everybody. Super excited to be here.
Are you ready to make some cool stuff?
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about you because you do a little bit of everything here at Adobe. Give us the quick intro.
Yeah, so I'm a group product manager on a bunch of Adobe apps from Adobe Color to Adobe Express, Photoshop Express, Adobe Fresco. I still contribute to the Creative Cloud Libraries team, and today I'm here for Adobe Firefly.
Yeah, so we're here to give you all of the insight about all of the things. Today we are going to be looking at a party invite. And I know a lot of you have gotten party invites to birthdays, but have you ever been invited to a puppy birthday? Tell us a little bit about what we're going to be working on today.
Yes, so we are going to be working in Adobe Firefly using the brand new Generative Fill module, and we are going to be making a party invite with our favorite little puppy, Cosmo, and decorating it with all of your great suggestions.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions for things that you would like to see or generate, go ahead and put those in chat for us. If you're watching over on YouTube, hi. If you're watching over on Behance, hi. I don't know, YouTube on the right, Behance on the left. That's kind of what happened there. So let's go ahead and I want to know, what's your favorite thing that you have generated using Firefly? Do you have any memorable moments?
So yeah, I am actually a professional photographer in my old work history. So I have a lot of old work that I've been bringing in and just generating really cool science fiction backgrounds. I really love to zone in on like that particular aesthetic and get like crashed spaceships and things like that. So
Yeah.
a lot of that kind of stuff. Alien worlds.
Alien worlds are fun. So let's go ahead and switch over to my screen real quick because I want to show everyone how to get the Adobe Photoshop beta. It has a lot of cool stuff in it, and there was a wide release yesterday as well.
Yes.
We got contextual toolbar, we've got new gradients, we've got adjustment presets, all kinds of great stuff to help you speed up your workflow. So you can go to updates right here on the left and click check for updates. A lot of times it may not auto update, it may not show up there. Click that check for updates and it will pop up for you. And if you want to get that beta access, go down here to the left and click on beta and it will show you everything that you have access to and you can download that beta. So go download it, post in Discord, let us know what you are creating. But yes, as Vandal is saying in chat, let's get weird. That is a great intro to the stream. So let's hop over to your screen and kind of get started on creating our party invite.
Yes, and I'm going to give you all a little tour of Generative Fill first. For those of you that aren't familiar, but I see a lot of people coming over from Discord, so I wanted to say hi to all of our Discord friends. I see you on there every day. Many of you know me there as Hep Dragon Emoji, so that would be me. And here we have the Generative Fill module to start with. You can obviously upload your own image, but first we're going to try with this sample image here. We have a bunch of built-in samples, so you can kind of get the lay of the land, what's possible. And I'm going to bring in this really awesome, like modern type of house. Again,
I want to go to there.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this is my ideal kind of house structure, but not necessarily my ideal landscape. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove that background. And it's going to take a little minute. And now we have our isolated house. And to start with, let's try like downtown.
Also, let's just point out that that wasn't like, okay, so we're going to use the object select tool, we're going to contract and expand, then we're going to go in, we're going to have to mask. It literally was, okay, let's remove the background, click.
And I just want to give a shout out to the teams that develop all of these because remove background used to be like 50% of my job when I was a professional photographer in my far distant past, literally hours a day. So to just click something and have that happen, wow, like total game changer. So I've chosen my prompt of like downtown city. And let's see what we get. It's kind of like roulette, right? Or what is it? The slot machines?
Yeah, really, yeah, 100%. Yes, and it's fun. I find that I have, oh my goodness.
Right? Look at these are crazy.
And not only did it like just throw a new background in, it took the context of what's around it, and you can see the reflections, you can see that it added the foliage in the foreground, it really put it into the scene.
Yes, so I love all of these. And the other thing is like it recognized that there's a highlight in this area and tried to like map that highlight to realistic light.
Yes.
Like that's something that if you are a photographer that does compositing is so tedious to try and like bring that image, that source image into line with what you're trying to do. So obviously like I love all of these, but this is still not my ideal landscape. So I'm gonna ask for something else. Let's try
A little bit more.
Let's try alien world with nebula in the sky.
And as that renders, I do see people talking about Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, you can do that. Our moderator, Wade, has put that in chat. Hi, Wade. Wade's one of my favorite moderators, so I'm glad he's here. And if you are coming over from the Discord, leave us a purple heart emoji in chat. My goodness, what a tongue twister. All right, we're in space now. We're hanging out on Mars.
So yeah, this is totally my ideal landscape. This is definitely where I would live on any of these planets. Ooh, I love this one. Like crazy weird desert with dust storm going into that nebula. And it just like nailed that prompt right out the gate, right?
Yeah.
So all of these are fantastic. So now this is all great, but what we want to do is take our lovely little dog friend and bring our dog friend into some landscape. So let's go ahead and bring Cosmo in.
Hi, Cosmo.
So this is Cosmo, and this is an adorable picture of this puppy, but if I put this into a birthday invite, I think it just needs something more. It needs to be a little more like fun, a little more cool.
Yes.
So some of the things that we're going to ask for your help with are dog breeds and what kind of party styling decor to put on these dogs.
Ooh, I like that this is the fashion question of like, where is this woman going? Like, what party is this dog going to? Who are the friends? Let's build out the scene, kind of develop the story a little bit.
And so let's generate a good background. So this one might be, we might need to go a couple of little revs because sometimes I get something good from here and sometimes I get a parking lot. So let's see what we get.
But we can keep trying. And again, pixels are free.
Yep.
There is no end to the amount of things that you can generate or edit or change. And there's no right or wrong answers in design, just ones that work and ones that don't. So let us know your suggestions in chat. I know there's a little delay. So from what we're working, if we're not addressing you in chat, it's just because we're a minute in the future and the future looks bright. So put your suggestions in there. We'll get to them as we see them come through. All right, we put him in a parking lot.
So he's got a couple parking lots, like I said. This one did get some colorful balls. And if we go over to the end, this one you could see some out of focus colorful balls in the background. But I think this one is the winner here.
Oh
like,
my
look at
goodness.
that. That's exactly what I was going for.
What happened to ball pits? Where did ball pits go? We need to bring those back.
You know, my first job was I worked at Chuck E. Cheese, and I had to go dig around in the ball pit and get all the stuff people dropped.
Charles Entertainment Cheese?
Yes, I was actually Chucky. That was my actual job. Because I don't know if you know this, but the shortest person on staff is always someone in the costume. So
oh, that's so fun.
That was me.
Okay, so we have him, and I like that it actually like took perspective and took out kind of the back half of it just put him into the ball pit jumping out, which I love that it's taken that into consideration.
And who hasn't wanted to bring their puppy into a ball pit? Like my dog would go nuts. She just would not know what to do.
Yes.
So now what I want to do, I've got my great background, I've got my great star of the show, so I'm going to keep this one. And you have all the capabilities here like a normal canvas, so you can zoom in, you can zoom out, and what we're going to do is kind of like zoom into like an area over here. And what I want to know now is like a dog breed, because I want to add another little dog in here.
Yes.
Let's make this brush a little bigger, actually.
And someone's asking, how can I zoom in and out on the canvas area? You can use the hotkeys, Control plus, Control minus, and I believe that you can scroll wheel or pinch zoom onto there. And so you can play around. You can also hold space or use the pan right there, the hand that you see. You can click and you can drag around there, so you can really see each of the individual pieces. And yes, Vandal saying mic drops early on. Yes, it is all mic drops today. We have a bucket of mics, and we'll be dropping them all day for you using Generative Fill.
And so I'm going to put Pomeranian puppy sitting. And now I am kind of a masochist. I use a trackpad for all of my editing, all of my compositing. It's just how, like, I was a field photographer, so I did a lot in the field, and I would like edit on the train or edit literally still in the field. So I'm used to working like this. So what I've done is I've created a little brush area that we're going to composite into. I've put my prompt in. Now let's click the button.
Also, I feel like Adobe has done so much over the past years to enable people that are on the go.
Yes.
Like we have Express, we've got Lightroom Mobile, we've got, oh my goodness, look at the little paw over the ball. And the shadows even.
That one might be, oh my God, no. See, now here's the problem. The real problem with Generative Fill isn't what you get, it's that you get too much. And then you're like, which one can I go through
Yes,
with?
it's picking your favorite. Your little tiny baby. Oh.
These are all so cute. I'm gonna go with the first one though. This one is just like top notch. I can't even deal. Like so cute.
Yes, and I think that the biggest thing, and we were talking about this before stream, as creative photographers, a lot of our time is spent matching lighting.
Yes.
That it is a lot of adjustment layers, a lot of dodging and burning. And here we've got the shadows, we've got the lighting, you can see the spot reflection in the eyes. Like all of those little details are really coming in automatically, generated.
Yes, and if you've ever been a compositor that has, composited a lot of extensive stuff into your images, source material that matches is the biggest problem. Like, so many times I've had to reconfigure the highlights, reconfigure the shadow by painting on one side and lightening and, burning on the other and make it super dark. And this is just a way to like get there faster without having to go spend hours on stock trying to find the right source material.
Yes.
All right. So next, I think that I want to add maybe a little party hat to our little friend.
It does feel like we're having fun, but it doesn't quite feel like his birthday. This feels like a casual Friday night for our friend. So let's add a little birthday hat and make it official.
I'm going to give him a little area. And now Generative Fill works best when you actually include, you don't do a tight selection of only what you want to composite into. You want to give it a little bit of area around so that it can like match the scene and it doesn't look too sharp. That old problem of when you use the lasso to cut something out, you had to soften the edges so that it matched kind of like tonally with the rest of the image. So here we're going to generate in, let's have a pink and purple party hat.
Love that. And it's great when you're changing out clothes. I see a lot of people changing out clothes. Get a little bit of the wrist, get a little bit of the neck, overlap onto the skin so it knows where that body is.
Yeah, and if you remember my selection, I had selected into the ears. And what it's done is it's composited back like perfect ears, and you can see like it's actually sitting in the hair there.
Yeah.
So that's why you want to like overlap that selection, because then you'll get it more real. It doesn't look pasted in, that kind of stuff. So let's go through our party hats. Oh, these are all good. Oh, this dog looks great.
Aww.
Oh, this one. This is the one.
It's very Barbie. Yes.
Yep. Right on brand for the movie coming out, right?
Yes. New trailer this morning, actually. I was watching it right before the stream. I got so excited.
And we want to give our little friend a party hat over here, too. So let's go ahead and select the area.
He's so precious.
Let's see. And we'll do this one a teal and pink party hat. See what that gives us.
And if you are working and you see any like inconsistencies in like color or any of that, you can always take it into Photoshop. And again, there are adjustment presets that are new in there. And it is one click to pull things together now. So usually Generative Fill is hitting spot on. If there's not quite the tone you want, or you want it to feel darker or more vibrant or more fun, there are adjustment presets for that now. It's literally one click away.
So amazing. All right, we've got a ton of really great hats here. I missed the teal, but it definitely zoned in on the pink. I think I like this one best. Again, the same little pom-pom, very cute. And now I'm gonna composite a couple more friends in here. I don't know about your dogs, but my dog has a lot of different dog friends that she likes to hang out with. And so let's give maybe a husky. So husky,
I love huskies.
Looking at the camera.
And saying those things like looking at the camera from behind, that kind of stuff, that is just informing what we want to be in the photo, right?
Yep, absolutely. And that will really give you the kind of like composition you want. So sometimes if you say like, just give me a person, the person's not necessarily doing the thing you want. So being more descriptive is super helpful.
Yep, and we're seeing something different with these that we're seeing with the foreground is it's blurred it to match the depth of field.
Yeah. So if you look here, these balls, they've got that like super blurry edge, because you're using a camera with a tight focal length, and you can see that the dog as well is exactly as it would be if it were there. Because if it was sharp, it would definitely look pasted in there, right? So this makes it look like the dog was really there in the ball crawl, all hanging out. And you notice that it also did the same thing with the image with the background image. Like the original dog image, I'll go ahead and go over here and open it up so you can see, it had a real tight depth of field. You can see it's only a couple of inches, and so that makes the dog go out of focus. So again, if it had put in a completely sharp background, that would immediately look super unrealistic. And instead, it looks very realistic, like the dog's actually hanging out in this ball crawl.
Yes, and a couple questions from chat. What about excluding things from a prompt? Does that make any difference?
Yeah, so you can use negative prompt weighting. If you go to firefly.adobe.com and you click in the top, not on this screen, there's a drop-down link that's a little icon of a beaker, and under there you can find our forums. And on the forum, we have a couple of threads that give you a ton of good prompting advice, ways to weight things, specific things you can ask for, modifications. If you go there, there's a whole bunch of really good tips on how to get the best out of your prompts, including negative weighting.
Sweet. And then one more question from chat. What is the difference between Generative Fill in Firefly and inside Photoshop Beta? For me, it feels like quality and results are better in One of them, question mark. What's the difference between the two? Same tech, right?
Same tech on the back end. In Photoshop, you just have more tools because of Photoshop's built-in capabilities. So you've got those like really extensive lasso tools, more things like select subject and different ways of making selections, and then a real easy way to make your selections soft or hard as needed to composite in there.
Yeah. All right. We have some friends, we've got some hats. Where are we heading next with this party?
All right, so I think this looks really great. So I'm gonna go ahead and download this. And now when I press download, you're gonna see something happen. So this screen pops up. Now what is this screen, right? This is our content credentials from our Content Authenticity Initiative. And what this is our way of being a really good, transparent organization on the fact that this was created using generative AI. So this is gonna not only sign this image with some special metadata, but even if something happened, like you uploaded it to social, that metadata got stripped out, you can actually go to verify, which is the link down here, and you can put that image in there and it will look it up in our backend and see the content credentials that were applied to it. So this is just a really great way to like be thoughtful about the kind of content you're putting out into the world and be really transparent that it's coming from generative capabilities.
That's really cool. Of like what's going on here, and Adobe saying, here's what's going, here are all the things that are going on here.
Yes.
Which is really cool to see kind of behind the curtain, if you will.
So I'm gonna open up my download file. I'm just gonna drag this over here and we'll go ahead and take a look at that. That's our final image. And you can see how cute all of these little dogs are, how perfect they look. It looks like they were really there. And the other thing I wanna point out is our watermark down in the corner. So this is one key difference between,
there we go.
Watermark.
Here it is.
This is one key difference between Firefly on the web and Firefly in Photoshop is on the web, we're watermarking all of these images. And I want to remind you all that all Firefly content is for non-commercial use only while it's in beta.
Which just came into chat as a question. Yes, non-commercial use only while in beta.
And including in Photoshop. But in Photoshop, we're not watermarking the content because that's your pixels. So you can go there if you want to use the content without the watermark.
Yes.
All right. So now, I want to put this into our flyer that we're going to create in Adobe Express for our birthday invitation so we can invite all of our dog friends to this birthday party. But first, I'm going to show you another tool that's super helpful, even for professionals that use color every day. We get real tired of picking 5 colors that match. So my favorite tool and one of my other products is Adobe Color.
My favorite as well.
Yay, Adobe Color. So here in Adobe Color, you've got all kinds of color tools, including color harmonies, different kinds of color rules that let you pick cohesive matching palettes that are complementary to each other or always have shades that work well together. But today we're gonna work in the extract theme workflow. So I'm gonna take our Firefly content, I'm gonna bring it in here, and you can see that it picks 5 great matching colors for us. You've got your total choice of different kinds of color harmonies from this image. Colorful, the way that the rules work is Colorful always picks colors that are deeply saturated. So high saturation level, high brightness. Bright is always high saturation, high brightness with one dark color so that you can have something to lay, for instance, your text on top of. Muted, they're always a little desaturated, and then dark, a mix of dark and bright. Deep, they try to go a little darker. You can see they are still pretty saturated. Like these are still very purple, very red, but now they're much darker for, you know, content that you have to make that's more in line with dark colors. And then dark is desaturated and dark colors. So this is a way that you can quickly make a theme with 5 matching colors in the kind of color zones that you need it to be in for whatever kind of content you're making. So I think I'm gonna go with colorful.
Yes.
And we're gonna take these colors into our Adobe Express template. And I'm gonna leave this over here for now. The first thing I'm gonna do is bring in that image here. So I've got this image set up, or this template set up for our party, and I've got, you know, the tagline is gonna be party animals, whoops. And the content is all there already. Let me go to my layers so that I can bring that down underneath that bar for evenness. Oh, whoops, there we go. And so this is good. This is an okay flyer, but if I posted this like on my Instagram or sent it to my friends over social, I want them to like really want to come to this party. So I want to like kick it up a notch.
Yes, it feels like a very like black tie affair at the moment.
Right,
yes.
Right. A little too formal for our little friends here who are all ready to party, right?
Yes, or who are already partying. They're inviting us to join the party they are already having.
They absolutely are. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna do some stylization, and I'm going to make some different colors by pasting in here. And maybe this one too, we want this to kind of like match that same font area. And you can see it started to pick up my current palette because it knows that I am using these colors. So the next thing I want to do, I think I want the background color to be something to like make these pop against. Maybe that purple color would be good. Let's see what that looks like.
Yep, and from here, we're just grabbing the hex code. So as you generate in Adobe Color, it is going to give you all these like numbers and letters, and you can click on the little copy, and that's going to give you that exact color from Adobe Color, bringing it into Express, Photoshop, Illustrator, wherever you want it to go, right there. That's all you need to take that color to wherever you want it to be.
Yep, and you can see down here, it tells me a little notice that I've copied it to my clipboard, and we are ready to go. The next thing, I think I'm gonna take this yellow color and try and put it on this font here to make it even more party-like.
And chat, if you have any suggestions for our flyer of how we could kick this up to another level of party, let us know in the chat.
Yeah, and now it's already picking up all of my colors, so you can see just how fast this was. Like, even if you don't know design tools, even if you are completely new, between the Generative Fill on Adobe Firefly Web and Adobe Express, you are able to do it in like a couple of clicks, make a beautiful little card, get it ready for social media, and then ready to send it to all of your friends.
Yes, and can we make like a huge difference in a few clicks just because it's my favorite thing in Express? Can we animate this real quick?
Absolutely.
Like literally just with a couple clicks. So again, if you're used to sending like an Evite that's just like, here you go, here's the image, you can step it up a notch, you can post on social media, you can make it into a GIF, send to your friends with 2 clicks.
All right.
Click on animation.
Now, what is your favorite animation to apply?
My favorite is the zoom in. Like it just gives like a really cool dimension.
Okay, so let's try, oh, whoops, come on.
Ooh, yes.
Very
nice. Oh, can
nice.
we land it maybe opposite way?
Opposite way?
Yes, down the other option there, yes. There we go.
Oh, beautiful.
There we go.
It's so cute. And now you can like save this out in the correct media format for your social media and post it. And now it's a little more dynamic. So if you did do something, I always share my invites like through Instagram messaging with my friends and things like that. You can upload it there as a little video and it'll catch their eye. It'll make them want to come to this party. It'll make them want to bring their dog. Super awesome.
Yes, and yes, Kevin saying make it more interactive. Yes, it is the interactive button. It adds that extra spice with just a few clicks.
Yeah.
All right, so where do we want to head next? We've got an animated version of this. We've got an awesome party invite. Where do we want to take it next?
So I think we're done. We could definitely take it to social media, but let me know if you have any suggestions.
Yes, so someone in chat actually asked, and I wanted to wait to see so we didn't make a hard left. Someone said, what about adding in a fur font? And we don't need a fur font because we can use a fur prompt over in Adobe Firefly. So we can use this great tool, Text Effects, and we can create some fun fur literally right there. Yep. There's a fun fur letter.
Look at all of these fur letters, and this is the one I was looking for. So this works the same way as Generative Fill. You have all of these things that you can start with, or you can go totally left field and do your own. I know this feed extensively well because I helped curate it. So the two that I always like are the sequin font, and then the one I think that will really match our specific design is the red fur font. So let's go here and let's say, what should we have the text be? Maybe like, join us?
Yes.
Let's see. So now we're just going to wait for it to prompt in. It's going to give us, first of all, a whole set of letters of the text that we asked for. And then you have other variations, the same as you saw in Generative Fill. So if I click these other variations, they'll give a slight difference on the fur, options that you had with the first one. So here, they're going like from the middle, the fur is like coming out and down. On here, it's coming out and more to the sides, and you can see like you have several variations, whichever one works for you. Ooh, I like this one. This one's really good. And now this looks great, the text, but maybe that background color is not necessarily the color that's gonna match my design, right? So where I'm gonna go is here on the side, you have all of these different kinds of options. Now, these options are built-in sample prompts, so all the ones you saw on the front page, you can just dive into those from here. There's also the text effects fit. This lets you kind of let things go out of the letters a little bit and make things a little more organic. If you put the leaf text or the leaf prompts or the flower prompts, it looks amazing as that goes out. You can see here you have a little bit of hair coming out, and like very similar to my dog, you have some shedding going on, which is my dog is going through her spring shed, and it is like I have hair everywhere.
Yes. Free sweaters, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So usually I wear all black, but my dog is light colored. So right now I'm wearing like the same color as her fur because then it hides all of that dog hair.
That's funny. You change your fashion to match the shedding cycle.
Yep,
Yes.
Yep. So this one looks great, but again, that background color is not doing it for me. So if you scroll down a little bit, you have, after your font selection, the ability to set the background color. So I could set it to a color that matches. I could choose my own color, but what I'm gonna do is set it to no color. And this will give me the ability to, the same as any other, transparent background image, put it on the canvas without having to work with that competing color into our design. So I'm gonna click download. I'm gonna see that content credentials again. And we're gonna go ahead and pull that over. All right.
And we can just drag and drop, which is great.
Just drag and drop.
This reminds me a lot as I look at, especially some of the 3D things like for the materials, the substance materials that are have been brought into Illustrator. It reminds me a lot of that. If you haven't played around with that, it is really, really fun. And you can generate some really cool stuff using those substance materials over in Illustrator, using some of the 3D. So play around with combinations maybe, that you do some stuff over in Firefly, some stuff over in Illustrator, smash them together. I love that we're working in a bunch of different programs today, because I think, especially with all of you, I know that you're all playing with Generative Fill in Photoshop, but maybe see what happens if you bring it into Express, take it to Illustrator, play around with inter-app workflows, and a lot of times you can surprise yourself.
Yes, and you can see I've got my perfect little text there. Let's get it perfectly centered. And now you have like this adorable little, scene going on. I could even remove this and make the text even bigger. I could put party animals in this text. It's just a really good way to quickly make something that is very unique and very well styled. And now we could send this invite to everybody on social media.
So fun.
There we go.
Oh, little sweetie. Okay, so let's hop over, and I want to show something in Photoshop Beta. I actually want to show a couple things, just because we're sharing a Creative Cloud library. If you haven't used Creative Cloud libraries, it's literally the best thing that's ever existed. I use it all the time. I use it all the time with clients, passing off files, collaborating. It's amazing. And so just us two, we're maybe clients working together, shared a library, look at these images. And so there are stock images in here that we have of this dog, right? I pulled it into here and I realized, oh man, it's got the watermarks and stuff on it. And this is the coolest thing. All I need to do is click on this little shopping cart right here, and it's gonna pull up a window and say, hey, would you like to license this image? And I say, yes, please. And it's going to license that image, and then it will pull all that off.
Yep.
It's so cool that it's all linked together. And when you use libraries, everything that you have in here will update live if you change it. So I use this all the time with clients, that I'll put logos on things. And oh, we changed our logo a little bit and changed the wording. Great. I need to update it in one place, and hundreds of documents will get updated in a second. It's
amazing.
Incredible. Okay, so let's show this, just because it's a great thing for photographers, especially product photographers that need a little bit of extra, using the Adobe Beta, Adobe Photoshop Beta. And again, if you don't have it, all you need to do, go to the Creative Cloud app, click on Beta Apps, and you'll see right there the Photoshop Beta that you can download. So I want to add a little more space to this. We have this great image, and I want to give a little more space so that I can maybe add in some details, right? And maybe we're doing the invite and we want to move him over here and then add in some space. All we need to do is just make a selection here, and then click on Generative Fill and Generate. And it's going to generate the extra little piece. Oh, it was working. It was working when I tried it just a second ago. Okay, so you can play around with it and see, but it will fill in that extra space in no time. So if we want to go, if you're trying to work in the beta right now, you can actually go to the web experience and do pretty much the same thing,
Pretty
right?
much the same thing, yeah.
Actually,
and
you know
I
what?
have a I have one up from earlier. And,
Yes, go ahead and do that.
This is just right now, it has been so popular. I don't know if you have seen the release of Generative Fill in Photoshop has been just really widely accepted. And so that's why we're getting that message. It's just so popular right now that when you hit the servers, they're all full up with generation. So just try again a little bit later.
Wild.
Yep. Yeah, and I know we have just been sitting there hitting the generate button over and over again, bringing in old photos, making us look really cool. I made myself into an astronaut.
Yes.
But here we have this adorable dog. And again, one of the really big problems I always have is I'm trying to work with something that is maybe a cell phone photo, or the person just didn't think about the end use case that this photo would be used for, right? So we can jazz this photo up again, and I've already done it, so I'm gonna just show you what I did. Now, you'll see over here in the corner there is this new layer that has been created. And this is actually a completely new layer type for Photoshop that was released just for Generative Fill and for our generative capabilities. And it's called a generative layer. And what it's gonna do when I turn it on, it's gonna show you the 3 generations that I've already done. So what I wanted was a field of wildflowers with cherry trees in the back. And you can see I got 3 different fields of perfect wildflowers with cherry trees in the back. And because I did that selection a little bit over the tail, a little bit over the paws, a little bit over the fur, it's really nicely matched that same area really seamlessly. Again, going back to making it look real and not just pasted in. It doesn't look too sharp. It really looks like this dog was running through that wildflower field. And you can see that the lighting of the field is very much in line with the same lighting on the dog. So this dog photo is a little bit magenta. If I was in my color correcting role of my old job, I would take that magenta out and give it a little more warmth. But for this purpose, I actually love it because when you bring that wildflower field in, it looks like the light coming off of the flowers has made the dog like beautiful and pink.
Yes, and when we talk about like, oh, it's a little too magenta, there's a very easy way for us to fix that with adjustment presets.
Yep.
So if you go up to adjustments right there, we'll show you, so Properties panel is great if you haven't used it. Check out Properties panel. But the adjustments has now a bunch of adjustment presets. And all you need to do is find the thing that is right for you. If you don't like either of those 5 that are in there, you can click on more and it's just like, oh, more, you want more? Here's more. And it gives you a ton of different like categories, different things to play around with to find the perfect adjustment. And my favorite thing about this is when you do the adjustments, it gives you the layers, right? That you can see what's going on there and you can learn, which is great. So right behind me, right there, you can see these layers. And so if you're new to Photoshop and you're like, oh, I like this vibe, how do I do this? It's literally right there. You can click on that and it will show you how Photoshop is doing that so you can understand and then do it on your own.
Amazing. And now we've brightened this up. We took that magenta away a little bit, but we still kept all of the beautiful saturation and colors that were in that field and in the trees behind it. And now this looks like a supernatural image. And it started out as just like a cell phone image off of, you know, an older camera that, you know, was just in the middle of a plain field. Like if you turn off this layer, you could see just in a plain field with some kind of building in the back. So a couple of clicks, a couple of prompts, a couple of adjustments, and we turned this into something absolutely beautiful.
Easy peasy. And yes, Sudeepa saying, I love it. All caps, yes, I agree. All right, let's do a fun little workflow that I've been playing around with. We've worked with all images that have existed, right? We've all worked with like images we've taken of the dogs. What if we are generating something in Firefly and it's not quite what we want and we want to change some things? How do we do that workflow now?
All right, so I'm gonna hand it over to you to do that.
Let's do it. I love that. Okay, so let's hop over into Firefly and chat. This is your favorite part. Give me a prompt. Anything you want. Your imagination is the limit. And yes, this will change compositing forever. It makes compositing, I always think about building, like renovating a bathroom, right? There's a great plan, you have amazing tile, all the pieces picked out, and then you have to do the demolition. You have to do the ditch digging, you have to lay down all of the like piping and stuff. It's taking that part away, right? The part of the creative is still there, we're still imagining, but it's making it so I don't have to click as many times, and my fingers are very thankful. Okay, so let's, arthritis, all the way down.
It's my neck that's thankful, because I would always be like this, right? Like a little goblin.
Yeah, we're all gonna have less problems with our fingers, more problems with our necks, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to generate a general scene. So I'm just gonna start out with an open, oh boy, Andrew, an open scene of chat. I see someone saying civilization, which is not what we're talking about with a prompt, but I'm taking it. I'm looking at you for spelling. Civilization, thanks chat.
Yeah, the worst thing is spelling like live on screen. For some reason, I'm just like, I have never written a word before. I don't know these letters.
Yes. Let's say having a wild party, since we're doing a party.
Yes.
Okay, let's just generate that and see what, oh, and summer, in the summer. I love that. All right, so let's generate that and see what we come up with. I am going to go directly to landscape. I always get stressed when I know I need landscape and it starts on a square because I don't want to see the options.
Right.
I'm like, don't show me, don't show me. I only want to see the ones that I'm going to use. Oh, fun.
Amazing.
Okay, super cool. So I like this one right here. Everyone's like dancing, having a good time. I love the civilization that it's pulling through. And there's a new button right up here on the left. that's called Generative Fill. And this is so easy. So we're in Firefly. We don't need to pull anything anywhere. We can click on Generative Fill and boom. Now it is in the other part that we were working in earlier, Generative Fill. It has brought this image over for me. So let's say that I want to do maybe some birds flying right here. All I need to do is click to insert. You know, this isn't the right way to do this. In my brain, that's what a bird looks like, but that is not at all the shape of an actual bird. So I'm just going to type in bird flying, and we're going to see what happens here. And that's the fun. When we do these demos, we don't know what the results are going to be. And so we are here having just as much. Wow, okay. Wow, and so let's cycle through these options. Cool, and what I love about using Generative Fill is it takes in the context, right? It's not taking in just a bird. It's giving me a stylized bird that kind of matches, right, the style that's happening here. You can see similarity in the wings, in the beaks. Like it's really giving me something that fits within the scene, which is awesome.
Right, and you'll notice this isn't photorealistic birds now. It's more of these illustrative birds that is matching the same brushing style and colors that were used. And that's great because if you've ever been an illustrator and spent hours on something that has many layers for the highlights, the shadows, the blocking, all of that stuff, and then your art director is like, this is great, but can you change it and add a bird? And you're like, wow, that's like a lot of work. So just a really easy way to put quick fixes in and get the best out of your content.
Yes, and someone in chat is saying, what about a futuristic hot air balloon? Why not? So I want it to be steampunk just because that feels like the right thing here.
Yeah.
So the futuristic steampunk hot air balloon. Man, because it doesn't understand when you misspell something because it's thinking it's a different language, I get so much more stressed than any other place. And I do like the syllable thing where you're like steampunk hot air balloon. Yes. Oh, cool.
That's crazy. Oh, these are so great.
Yes, and I love that it's matching this like kind of painterly illustration style. I love this one here. That looks great.
So cool and weird and like got the steampunk exactly right. You're like looking at all those little embellishments and wondering like what are they in the steampunk, narrative of this world.
Yes. Oh, this is so cool. So someone is asking, can I resize it? We did show that a little bit, and I actually have thought of a workaround to what is happening right now. So again, we mentioned earlier, y'all are going wild with Photoshop beta. And so right now you may get an error message. It may go through. We don't know. But okay, let's try this little workaround, which is, again, may not work, but I think it might. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this over into the Photoshop beta. And what I'm going to do is I am going to re-export it. So in here, I'm going to use the crop tool. And I'm just going to bring this out to get some extra space. And then I am going to save this with the extra space. Okay.
Smart.
Right? Here I am trying really, really hard to make this work. And then we're going to come back into Firefly. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to upload that image with the extra space that was on it. Let's see here. There we go. And so now I'm actually very curious to see what happens.
Let's see.
I'm going to insert, and I'm just going to grab this extra space that I made in Photoshop. And I am not going to put in any prompt, and I'm going to click Generate and see what it picks up. Ooh.
Let's see if this works. Oh, I'm so excited.
Me too. This is a weird workflow, but like it's kind of fun. Yeah. Oh, well, okay. It extended more. It got, okay, there we go. There we go. It's pulled all the way to the top. Okay, so I did learn yesterday from Paul Training, and you can tell me if this is right or not, that selecting 4 areas for this of top, bottom, left, and right instead of all one area all the way around it will generate better results doing it separately.
Ooh,
does it matter? Or?
I did not know that. I always learn tips from our evangelists because they are the ones on the front lines really like spending a lot of time. They're not just sending a bunch of test files through and then getting to play with it at night after all of their meetings are done. So I definitely watch all of Paul's streams and steal all of his great tips because he has got 100%. A lot of them.
All right, so I'm going to paint out the rest of this, and let's just see what happens if I do a giant area like this. And again, you don't need a prompt if you're just extending something, you're removing something, no prompt. All you need to do is hit generate. And while that goes, Joshua, hi, thanks for joining us. Will this video be saved for viewing later? Absolutely, on the Adobe Live YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I love that it pulled the watermark because I got a portion of the watermark and just extended it. But look, it extended this tent.
You've got the foreground.
Wow.
And I kind of like the way it made it into kind of like a gaseous effect, the watermark. It like went into that like gradient and added more. And now it looks kind of like magic is happening in the corner.
Yes, man, it's so interesting, especially with this tent, right? That it has this complex pattern, that it understands that pattern and kind of pushes it through. And let me pull up the original real quick, because I want to show you kind of the angle. Where are we? Andrew, pull it together. The amount of files that are just sitting here. There we go. So what I think is super interesting, right, is this here's the original. We have this piece right here, and it's extended that and kept that curve and added more of the lines, added more of the people. It's almost like it's like understanding like what's happening in the photo in the context of that photo.
And like if you were trying to do this by hand, compositing it in Photoshop from the source material, you would understand that the pattern would be repeating from the part of the pattern that you sampled from. Like you would notice that. Here the pattern is different but cohesive. So it like zoned into that style, but it's not just a stamp of other areas of the pattern, right? It looks really natural, like it's extended.
That's really cool. Kevin asking, if you do it in Photoshop with a transparent background, you can avoid the white borders happening, instead going right to the edge. Yes, what I have found with Generative Fill is if it will fill whatever space you have selected. So even if it's on a transparent background, it won't generate a transparent image. It will generate something around that image and fill the entire space that you have.
Right.
Okay, I want to show one more thing in Express.
Yes.
We're just off the rails now, which is great. So I want to show this because it's my favorite effect in Express, and it's kind of a amalgamation of all the things that we've been looking at. And One Archer, love the live stream. Thanks so much for joining us. So I'm going to just pick a little template here. So let's do this mindful morning routine. Actually, okay, I'm looking for something that like has some action. Okay, here we go, burgers.
Ooh, nice.
My lunch is literally on the other side of the door behind the camera, y'all, so this is like killing me right now. Okay, so this has been one of my favorite things to do with Firefly, is to generate effects. Okay, so let's go to Firefly, and here is my little secret workflow that you all can use because it's Adobe Live and we love to give you tips. I am going to do like exploding sparks and light flare, R-E-I-R?
I think they both work.
Sure. And light flare on a black background. So here is the secret. Doing things on a black background or a white background is going to allow you to use blending modes to isolate it, okay? So I have this right here, it looks good. Let's use this one. And I actually want to get a little more space on here. So we're gonna do a landscape.
And we already saw so many good ones, so now we have to just let them go. Goodbye, generated pixels. We love you.
I don't know if anything makes me more sad than that. Of like, you have a good one, and then you're like, well, now it's gone. Okay, so I like this one a lot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to download this here. Okay, and then very quickly, I'm going to bring it over to Adobe Express. So we can click on Photos to add this by uploading this. And we can come over here and let's see, where did that download to?
We're coining new terms here.
All right, so we got these sparks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow these up very, very large, okay, over like the entirety of this image. Make sure it aligns with my burger a little bit. Then I'm going to change the blending mode to screen. And what happens is it kicks out all of that black so that it isn't like showing through and gives us this really, really cool effect. And I can take the opacity down a little bit. All right, looking good. And then from here, I'm going to do one more thing, is I'm going to increase the contrast. And that's just gonna give us that kind of, make sure that all the black is going away so we have that cool effect. And let's do one more thing here. Actually, yes, I was hoping that this was in layers. So I'm gonna get this burger and ungroup it so that I can grab this sparks and put it behind the burger. Cool. And now we are going to do an effect. Actually, let's bring it in front so we can see the actual effect I'm doing. So doing the screens, and then I will go in and I will animate. So I will come over. Where's my animate? There it is. I'll go to animation, and we will just zoom this in. So we'll do grow, not on the text. Andrew, pull it together. Zoom. There we go. Yeah. Ooh. And so putting this like behind this burger and then playing, we get this really cool like zoom explosion effect. So I've done this with like snow is really great. Do this with lightning kind of coming in from the sides. And by generating those effects in Firefly, bringing them into Express and animating using blending modes, you can, like this in After Effects would take you a long time. Or if you don't know After Effects, you wouldn't be able to do it.
Months to learn After Effects and then do this.
Yes. So very, very cool. This is one of my favorite like combos of things to do in Express.
And what I love is like the idea of not just generating like final images, but generating like source content for different kinds of effects and things. That's a totally another use case, like pattern generation, things like that. I encourage you to explore the text to image using not just a final image, you know, scene type of composition, but also looking at it for source material, for different kinds of styling effects, textures. You can make so many cool things that aren't the final image, they're just a creative ingredient that you're using to create your vision.
Yes. And here's one that I had created using these effects. So they're all individual pieces. And you can see right here that you can get that really cool, like layered. So some of the text is in front, some of the text is behind. And this is its own layer from Photoshop. This is its own transparent layer. So you can play around with generating in Firefly, extracting the background, removing the background here in Express, and then layering this stuff to create these really cool effects that are like layered and animated.
So cool. Is this an album cover? I want to listen to this album.
Oh yes, the captain of the ocean water. Absolutely. All right, chat. If you want to create a studio-looking product shots, put shot of a blank Cyclorama?
What? We should try that.
Yeah, do you want to try that over there?
Let's go.
Cyclorama? I'm going to Google what Cyclorama means.
And I am going to jump into text to image. And what was that prompt? So let's see.
Shot of a...
on a... Okay, so first we need a thing. We need to ask for a studio type of thing. So let's try a bicycle shot on a yellow Cyclorama. And let's see what it gives us.
Oh, it's a panoramic image of the inside of a cylindrical platform. Okay, let's see what this looks like then.
Interesting.
Oh, it's pulling in cycle.
Oh,
like a bike.
Right. So let's try not a bicycle. Let's try
that's so funny. I didn't hear that we did bicycle. And
glass
I was like, it's
bottle shot on a cyclorama. Did I spell it right? Cyclorama. Okay. Let's try.
And this is great for mock-ups, for generating kind of the base. Yes.
Look at how beautiful that is. And if you made that like into landscape, now you've got like a perfect selection for your, ad or what have you, whatever you're working on. This is amazing. See, we learn stuff all the time from our community, especially, again, shouting out to our Discord community. Come join us on Discord. We have prompt jockey sessions where some of our great Discord creatives will like take your prompts and help you design the best kind of output from it. Always learning tips and tricks for them. This is just beautiful. Look at that light.
That's really cool. I'm actually going to generate one of those as well because I learned something on TikTok last night that I want to show you all. We're demoing all this cool stuff in Photoshop, and we're like, here are the new tools. And I'm watching TikTok, and I was like, this is a new tool that I didn't know about, and I'm like here presenting them. So I'm going to do just like a product mock-up of a makeup bottle. So I'm going to generate this over in Firefly. And if we want to come back to my screen, we can generate this in Firefly. Okay, actually, this is perfect.
Beautiful.
So this looks awesome. I'm going to go ahead and download this, and then we're going to bring it over into Photoshop. And the trick that I have learned is that there is a new warp that is available in Photoshop that has not been there before. If you are a product photographer, if you are a designer working with product, it has been a nightmare to match a label using warp. It's been really, really hard. And so what you can do, sure, actually, let's just pull that guy from our libraries. Look at how easy it is right here, boom. What you can do now is you can come up to Image, you can go to, edit, and then you can go to transform, go down to warp, and there is an option now for cylinder. Boom. And all we need to do is match up these edges for where we want them to go. So we'll match up the top and left right there, and then match, Andrew. Oh my goodness. All right, so pull those together, match to the edges, and then we'll grab this little top piece and pull it up to where that bottle is. Hit enter, and it will augment that into a cylinder for us. This is so helpful.
This was such a tedious thing. You had to, all of the different points, you had to like use the smudge tools or, you know, the liquify tools to try and get the top edge to look correctly. I would always try and start with arch, and that's never the place to start with.
Arch feels like the right answer, but it's not.
It's not. It's the opposite answer.
Yes, I feel the same way. So yes, chat, if you have questions. Oh, sorry, yes, but the screen is covering it up. Here, hold on, I got you. Actually, I don't got you because I can't move that. But all I'm doing is clicking on edit, which is the second option over, and then going down to transform. So I know it's covered up by my Andrew screen right there, but it is just edit and then transform. You go to warp, and then we have a new option for the cylinder, which is also covered up right here. One more over. Got it right there, cylinder. So there we go, we did it. We did it. All right, thank you, Studio Manager. So edit, one more time, edit, go down to transform right here, then go to warp, and you can see right here, we have a cylinder option in that dropdown. Also, if you've played around with the other warps are super fun.
Oh yeah, Warp Tool was my jam for a long time. Because compositor, right? You need to get that source material into the right position, into the right area, covering the right thing.
Yes. All right, so we can do some prompt jockey stuff, help you guys out, which we don't necessarily need to because something happened yesterday that was very important to the people who are watching. What happened with Firefly?
Wait, what happened?
Oh, it opened for everybody.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
Yes, so
we're so used to prompt jockeying that we're like, we'll do it for you. Like, you can do it now.
So up until now, Firefly has been an invite-only beta. You would come to the website, you'd click request access, you would wait a long time for us to be able to process you because it was so overwhelmingly popular. Now we have opened it up for everyone. So if you come to firefly.adobe.com and you're not logged in, you'll see just a login button, no more request access. You just log in and you have access to all of our public features.
Yes. Absolute magic. So if you have any prompts, I do see one in chat that we can do. Where did it go? It was like a sports car.
Sports car product photography shot on a gray cyclorama.
Got it. So let's see what that looks, because we love to share visuals here. Sports car product photography shot on a gray cyclorama. All right, got it. Let's see what happens.
And I'm even learning something about product photography, which I did.
Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna change this to photo.
Phenomenal. I always shot on V-flats, if you know what V-flats are. They're just the giant boards.
Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna do hyper realistic detail. And I found that when I do the hyper realistic detail, a lot of times it will like do macro. So I'm interested to see, and it'll like get like really nice texture and stuff.
Ooh, look at that shot all the way on the left. That is super sick.
Ooh. And what's cool is we can play over here. So let's say that we want this to be like a futuristic car. All we need to do is click on synthwave and dun, 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 dun. Oh, I need to click generate. Andrew.
We're just so excited here.
I was so excited to see what it was. It will generate that new option for, I
love synthwave lighting so much.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that's so cool. How do we make patterns? How do we make patterns?
You just, same thing. You put in your prompt, so something maybe like the colors you want, and then pattern, seamless pattern tile is the one that I usually use. And if you don't put too much detail in, usually you get back to some really cool stuff. And you can, like usual, put a lot of detail in and then get specific types of content back.
So let's see, we did red and yellow seamless pattern. Ooh, of flowers. Look at that.
Really beautiful.
That's really cool. This reminds me of some of the stuff that you can do in Adobe Capture.
Yep.
That you can grab. And if you haven't used Adobe Capture, again, I'm not just plugging on the things that you work on, but Adobe Capture is great if you're on the go and you need to get colors, you need to grab fonts, you need to grab patterns, textures, all that stuff, go check out Adobe Capture. I don't know if you have, but download it, go check it out, go on an adventure in the city and see what you can find, because there's really cool stuff there.
Yeah, and talking about libraries earlier, everything in Adobe Capture is saved to your Creative Cloud library.
Yes.
You can find it when you get back to the desktop. No importing, no exporting, no share from your phone. It's just right there in that window waiting for you in Photoshop, Illustrator, all the apps that have libraries.
Yep. So thanks so much for joining us. Stick around. We have more great content coming to you with Generative Fill, with Firefly here today. Next up is Renee. We're going to be making a 90s rave flyer, which is going to be fun.
Down.
I'm going to ask you the question that I ask all my guests. For people that are getting creative, trying new stuff, what advice do you have for them today?
Today it would be go to Firefly and play around and use it, let it inspire you. Put in some prompts and then see where they take you and create some great stuff.
Yes, we'll see you again. Stick around. I'll be right back in 5 minutes. Bye, everybody.
Bye.